Terri Savelle Foy, your cheerleader of dreams. I want to talk to you today about the party that could change your life. You know, the biggest question I get when I meet people is, Terri, how do you discover your dreams? It's been so long since I've dreamed, I don't even know what my dreams are. Well, I want to tell you a wild, true story about the power of using your imagination to start dreaming and about a party that could change your life. You know, most success coaches recommend that you imagine your life 5 years into the future, because that's something you can sort of wrap your mind around. And when you do this, I am convinced that the next 5 years of your life could be the most exciting, productive, amazing years of your life, or just another 5 years. You can achieve more of your dreams over the next 5 years than the previous 15 to 20 combined. It's entirely up to you and your ability to dream, to think, and to imagine. So let me tell you how I learned this. When I was still getting out of a rut, I'm talking about an 11-year rut, and started to dream of my life improving, I came across this story about this party from Jack Canfield. He's the author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Now here's what he did. I'm going to read it. This is from my book, Imagine Big. I told the story in here. But he talked about how in 1986, Jack attended a party that he said deeply impacted the lives of every person who attended. It was Come As You Will Be 5 years from now, held on the Queen Mary in California. So listen to this. He said the partygoers had to stretch their imagination and create a vision of what they wanted their lives to be like at this party and act as if it had already come true. He said they were asked to dress the part, talk the part, bring any props, my kind of party, that demonstrated that their dreams had already come true. Books written, awards earned, large paychecks received. He said the evening was a success. Everyone bragged about their accomplishments, expressed how happy and fulfilled they were. Then they talked about what they were going to do next. Jack said he went to the party as a best-selling author and brought with him several reviews of his #1 New York Times bestseller. One man came as a multimillionaire dressed as a beach bum. That was his vision of retirement. Another woman brought a mock edition of Time magazine with her face on the cover. A man who wanted to retire and spend his life as a sculptor showed up in an apron with a hammer and a chisel and pictures of sculptures he had made. He said, and so it went on all evening long. Now here's the amazing thing. The party, where they maintained their future personas for more than 4 hours, Jack said it flooded their subconscious minds with powerful images of having already achieved their aspirations. But most importantly, Jack says, it worked. He said all of those who attended the party that night have gone on to realize the very dreams they acted out that night and much, much more. Isn't that amazing? That's the power of using your God-given imagination to act as if what you're believing for is going to happen. That's faith, isn't it? And see, your life is constantly moving towards the dominating images that you keep in your mind. Now, the business world calls this the law of attraction. Let me give you an example. They say that your mind is like a magnet, and whatever gets in your mind and stays there, you will attract it in your life, right? Well, we call that Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinks in his heart, so does he become. In other words, what you think about, you bring about, right? Well, maybe you should throw your own party. Now, I didn't throw a party, but I did do this in 2006. And what I did was I wrote down the biggest, craziest things I could imagine happening in my life. Everything from ministering on TV with my dad to writing books and seeing them in bookstores, or ministering to women rescued from human trafficking and starting a women's conference. And anyway, I wrote as big as I could think. And by 2011, 5 years later, every single one of those impossible looking dreams had all happened. So I just keep making new books and vision boards. What you're doing is seeing with the eye of faith, the eye of vision. So let me ask you, #1, what can you imagine 5 years from right now? Project forward 5 years into the future and just imagine your ideal life. Don't think about what's possible or not possible. Just get a clear picture of what you can imagine. what you desire to have. So what can you imagine? Are you married? How many years have you been married? How many years are you celebrating? Do you have a baby? Are your kids in college? Are you working? Where do you work? Are you self-employed? Are you ministering or teaching a class? Did you write your first book? It's 5 years from right now, and God is saying to you, what can you imagine? Number 2 is write what's in your heart. Just start writing the answers to those questions. Remember this. Clarity comes from questions, and there's power in the pen or pencil, but writing your dreams and goals is a clear key to success, so just start by writing. In fact, psychology professor at Dominican University, Dr. Gail Matthews, she did research on the topic of goal setting and dreams, and she found that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals just by writing them down. 42%. So I always start by writing what's in my heart and my imagination. Number 3 is add pictures and images of your life 5 years from now. What would you love to see happen in your life over the next 5 years? Get an actual vision of it, a picture or a visual to keep before your eyes. In fact, let me tell you this story. This is a story about a sweet lady named Wanda. I'm going to fold this so you can't see the before and after. This is Wanda before, who reached out to me on Instagram saying she heard me speak at Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas. Well, we actually met that night and got a photo together. Well, she began to light up with vision for her life like never before. So she put a vision of her at her ideal body weight. You know, you just chop your head off, put it on someone's body that you want to have. And then she wrote in her little dream book that she wanted to go on her dream vacation to Jamaica, and she wrote that she wanted her business to grow. Well, here I am with Wanda at my Icing Women's event last year in Dallas. Wanda has lost over 90 pounds. She went from a size 3X to a medium. Her career is growing. And then she also sent me this. Here she is vacationing in Jamaica. Why? What happened to Wanda? She got crystal clear on what she wanted, and then she kept that vision before her eyes. See, don't limit what God can do in your life by not using your imagination and dreaming big. I want to share one more story with you that I just love. This was sent to me from Julie from Boise, Idaho. So Julie said that in high school she had written some career choices. She wanted to own a business, teach, be a lawyer, or be a flight attendant. She said, but then I became an alcoholic, looking for love in all the wrong places. She said, already divorced by the time I was 21. Julie said, I simply put away my career choices and I was just living day to day. Well, years went by. She remarried, moved on with her life, and here's what Julie wrote. When we became empty nesters, we downsized and moved closer to the airport. Out of nowhere, my husband reminded me of how years and years ago, I always wanted to be a flight attendant. But Julie said, you kidding me? I'm too old. But she said, one day I found you, Terri, and I just started devouring your wisdom podcast books and getting vision for my life again. She said she got her little dream book, and she wrote in there that she wanted a lakefront home, wanted to lose weight. She wrote how much. She wanted to pay off debt. She wrote the amount. I want to go to your Icing Women's Conference and become a flight attendant. She said, I started learning to put myself on a schedule every morning, changed her habits. She became a partner with our ministry. She said, so far, Terri, here's her progress report. I went to my first out-of-state women's conference, Icing in Dallas. I've lost 20 pounds. And she says, Terri, here I am, now a flight attendant with Alaska Airlines. She writes a 40-year dream come true at the age of 59 years old. I love that. You've probably heard me say, stop looking at all the years you've lost, look at the years you've got left, and live your dreams. That's what Julie's doing, right? Well, here's what I want you to know. There has never been a better time for you to live your dreams. Everything has brought you to this moment. You know, I heard T.D. Jakes say, the moment you make up your mind that you're going somewhere, you become a threat to the enemy. Think about it, just like those 4 old lepers in the Bible. They're just wasting away year after year after year until one of them finally said, are we just going to sit here until we die? Well, the moment they made up their mind and said, why not us and why not now? Everything changed. God amplified their footsteps and made a way where there was no way and gave them more than they could ever have dreamed of. I want you to know your destiny is a result of your next decision. Just like Julie and like Wanda, they had to make a decision. I'm not living like this anymore. God has more for my life. I'm going to start using my imagination. I'm going to take the time to get my thoughts out of my head and onto paper to prove that I'm serious. If my chance of success goes up 42% just by writing it down, then I'm going to take the time to grab a pen and paper. And they got serious about their dreams. Now, when we come back, I want to share the game changer to making all of this happen. See, you do everything you know to do in the natural, and then here's where God brings the supernatural. So watch this, and I'll share that key with you in just a moment.
Your imagination is a powerful gift from God, and understanding how to use this gift can dramatically change your life. That's why Terri is offering you her best-selling book, Imagine Big, along with the My Personal Dreams and Goals notebook. In Imagine Big, you'll discover from God's Word proven success keys that will enable you to live the life you've always wanted. Use the My Personal Dreams and Goals notebook to help you stay focused and organized as you utilize pictures and goal setting to get greater results. This is a must-have package for you or a loved one who needs to understand how to make their dreams a reality and experience their full potential. Don't wait to pursue the dreams God's placed in your heart. You don't have time to waste, so don't delay. Call or go online to request your copy of Imagine Big along with the My Personal Dreams and Goals notebook. Call toll-free 1-800-795-5597 or visit us online at terri.com. Order now and get the tools you need to go from where you are to where you want to be.
I can't even tell you how excited I am to have these two resources together in a bundle as our special offer this week. Now, this is the message and the book that changed our whole ministry, and it's going to help you start. I heard Don Shula say, it's the start that stops most people. John Maxwell says it like this, it's not where you start, but whether you start. Well, I'm going to help you start dreaming again, and you're going to have fun writing your goals to pay off your credit card, pay off your car, get your dream car, go on a mission trip, attend a conference, write your first book, start your own YouTube channel. Whatever God has put in your heart to do, it's time to start. Get pictures and images of your ideal life and start moving towards it. See, if God is speaking to you that it's time for you to get serious about your dreams and the changes that you want to see in your life, then do it now. Get this bundle at the special price this week. Instead of $45, you can get it for only $37. Just pick up the phone and call the number on the screen or go online to terri.com to get your copies today. Now, let me say this real quick. You may not know what your dreams are anymore. In fact, recently, I was speaking at a conference about vision and having a dream and setting goals for your life, which I always do. And afterwards, I always enjoy getting to meet people and hear their thoughts about the message and what they feel like God is speaking to them. Many, many, many times I hear people say, Terri, I don't have any dreams, or I don't know what my dreams and goals are. But recently, I had this young mother come up to me and she said, I love this stuff. But she said, I have a question for you. She said, my whole dream, my whole life has been to get married and have kids, start a family. And she said, I'm doing that. So I've already fulfilled my dream. She said, what do I do now? I don't have any goals. I said, well, let's think about it. I said, how's your financial condition? Are you debt-free? She said, oh my gosh, our finances are a mess. I said, well, there's one goal. Actually, several, but I said, let's start with one. First, add up all of your debt. I said, you need to know where you are financially and set a goal to pay off the lowest debt you have as soon as possible. Set a deadline. I said it could be pay off the MasterCard or the Visa bill of $2,800.72 by July 31st. I said, how's your savings account? She said, we don't have any money saved. I said, well, there's your second goal, to write down to save $1,000. I said, according to Dave Ramsey, this should be goal number one before you even start paying off the debt. I said, what if your car broke down or your kids had a dentist appointment? I said, you've got to have $1,000 emergency money setting aside. I said, start with a goal to save $1,000 as quick as you possibly can. Have a garage sale, sell some things online, babysit other kids, clean houses. I said, do something. Well, then I said, how's your health and fitness? I said, are you where you want to be physically? She said, no, I have gained so much weight since I had my kids and I would love to lose it. I said, there's goal number 3. I said, to weigh whatever that amount is by a certain date. Fill in the blank. Then I said, tell me about your personal growth goals. She said, what's that? I said, you say that being a parent is your greatest ambition and having a strong, healthy family. I said, what are you doing to grow yourself in parenting and being a leader in the family? So I encouraged her to set some goals to read in the areas where she wants the most improvement. I said, get one book, maybe it's on finances, and set a goal to read it in a month. I encourage her to set some personal growth goals like enroll in a course in the first quarter of the year or attend a virtual conference, read 6 books this year or 12. And then I asked her about the condition of her house. I said, how's your house? And she said, oh my gosh, it's a mess. It looks like someone with 3 kids running around. And then she said, and to be honest, it's a bit stressful. I said, there's another goal, to make one room as neat and organized as possible and maintain that neatness every single day for 30 days until it becomes a routine. She was like, this is exciting. She said, I have dreams and goals. But you get the picture. They say that the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goals to reach. So I want to inspire you today to set your own personal growth goals for your life. Think about what you want to accomplish in your life. Write it down and get focused on it. John Maxwell says, nobody just stumbles upon success and says, how did I get here? No, you get what you focus on. Now, I jokingly illustrate it like this, using a buzzard and a hummingbird. And this is how I say it. Buzzards, they actually fly around looking for dead stuff. Hummingbirds, they fly around looking for sweet stuff. One looks for dead stuff, one looks for sweet stuff, but guess what? They both get what they focus on. They get what they're looking for, right? Well, do you know that we tend to get in life exactly what we're focused on? See, the most successful people in the world, they focus on their desired results in life. They're very clear about what they want to achieve. Now, unsuccessful people are hazy, unclear about tomorrow. They don't know what they want. They just wake up and see what the day brings. Now, let me tell you this real quick. Do you remember how God said in Isaiah 43:19, He said, see, I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? In other words, He's getting ready to do new things in your life to favor you, promote you, increase you, expand your influence. But He's asking you the question, do you not perceive it? Well, I looked up that word perceive, and it means to notice, to identify, to comprehend, and to see. So God is asking you today, do you see it? Do you see where He wants to take you? In other words, do you have a clear vision? Can you see beyond where you are right now? Can you imagine big things happening in your life? Listen to this phrase. You cannot have a larger life with a restricted imagination. I'm going to repeat that. You cannot have a larger life with a restricted imagination. Let me say it this way. You'll never leave where you are until you see where you'd rather be. Where? In your imagination. So let me remind you, your imagination is extremely powerful. If you can't imagine your dreams, you'll never have them. I heard someone explain about the impala, which I thought was a car, but apparently it's an animal. But do you know that the impala can jump 10 feet high and 30 feet long? Comprehend that, 10 feet off the ground and 30 feet long. However, you will find the impala at a zoo behind a 4-foot wall, and he won't even attempt to get out. You know why? Because he can't see over the fence. And here's what they said. The impala will never attempt to jump where he can't see first. Well, it's the same with you. You got to see where you're headed before you start taking steps towards it. See, when you get your dreams out of your head and onto paper, in a book or on a vision board, you have just added one of the single most important keys to success, and that's clarity. See, as long as you keep your dreams in your head, they remain unclear. You're not focused on them. You forget about them. You've probably heard the phrase, New Year's goals are things that go in one year and out the other, right? So let me recap real fast. Number one, imagine your ideal life 5 years from right now. Number two, write it down. Don't leave it in your head. Number three, add images and pictures of where you want your life to go because it makes the dream come alive. And the fourth key, let me share it by telling you a story. So years ago, I was speaking at a church in London, England. And when I got there, there were thousands of people at this church. Well, I went in the speaker's room with all the, pastors and associates, and I was so interested in this pastor's story because he's from Nigeria. He had this real thick Nigerian accent, and here we are in London, England. So I said, Pastor, tell me your story. So he began to tell me that he grew up in this very poor family in Nigeria, and he said that he had a speech impediment. And because he couldn't talk right, his parents considered him the dumb child and didn't even put him in school. So he grew up with such a poor self-image, you can imagine. And he said as he got older, he was so broke, he was living in his car begging people for food. But here's what happened. He said one day he got a hold of the Word of God. Someone gave him a book is what he said. And as he's living in his car, he began to read how God had more for his life. And he said, as I'm living in that car, I just began to imagine my life improving. He said, I imagine getting out of Nigeria and moving to London, England. He said, I imagine myself married and with children. He said, I would imagine myself speaking to thousands of people, preaching the gospel. He said, for some reason, I even imagined the color green. Well, now you go to his church, thousands of people, like 7,000 people were there. He'd only had the church for 4 years. He had just bought a TV network in England. He didn't buy airtime, he bought the whole network and paid cash for it. Bought 14 acres of land in London, England, paid cash for it. He's married, he has a family. Here's the funny thing, the carpet was green, the usher's ties were green, his shoes were green. I said, you're amazing. He said, no, I simply believe. He simply believed. Here's what he believed. He believed that what he saw on the inside was more real to him than what he saw on the outside. And see, when you get to that place in your life, when what you see on the inside is more real to you than what you see on the outside, it's just a matter of time. God is going to bring you ideas, opportunities, resources, and relationships to achieve your dreams. Let me repeat that. God is going to bring you ideas, opportunities, resources, and relationships to achieve your dreams. So what is number 4? Believe you can have it. It's the game changer. Let me explain it like this. In the Bible, there were 2 blind men who approached Jesus asking if he would give them their sight. Now, I think it's interesting how Jesus put the responsibility back on them, and he asked them one powerful question. Do you believe I can do this? Their response says it all. Now, I want you to notice, without hesitating, they replied, yes, Lord. Think about that. Without questioning, without discussing it, without trying to figure out how this could happen, they just believed. Then the Lord said, in response to them, he said, it shall be done to you according to your faith. One translation says, become what you believe. See, when you get to that place in your life where you can imagine God asking you the same question, do you believe I can do this for you? And you respond without hesitating, yes, Lord, then you are ready to achieve the impossible. So I believe God is saying to you today, become what you believe. If you can believe to live in that house, if you can believe to own that business, to weigh that amount, to vacation there, to see restoration in your marriage or to get married, become what you believe. So, I hope you enjoyed that. I know you're going to love this week's special bundle. It's my book, Imagine Big, plus your personal dreams and goals notebook right here. Now, this is going to help you get your goals in life organized and feel excited again to wake up and go after a vision. You may start out like I did with a goal to get your house in order, a goal to pay off the MasterCard of $4,687.93, or a goal to lose 10 pounds or to read 6 books. But here's what happens. It's going to build your faith and your momentum to go after bigger goals and dreams that God puts in your heart. To pay off the car, to buy your dream house, to write a book, to save $50,000. This little notebook will become your new best friend. You will literally be amazed at what God will do in your life in 1 year's time. You will not be where you are today next year at this time. That is the power of having a clear vision. You know, every single day I get my notebook out, I pray over my dreams and goals, and they keep happening. So get the book, start with chapter 1, and I'm going to show you how to start using your childlike imagination again. Start stirring up those dreams you may have forgotten about. So this is a special offer this week. Instead of $45, we've reduced it to $37. Just pick up the phone, call the number on the screen, or go to terri.com and we will ship these to you today. And I want to say real quick, a special thank you to all of our partners. We cannot do what we're doing without partners. And we're growing so much, we're growing so fast, and we need partners here in the ministry. You know, we get so many testimonies from people. This one from Vicky, I don't have time to read the whole thing, but she said, I'm so excited to tell you about the big fat check the Lord gave me. But she sowed into our ministry, sowed into our headquarters here, believing God, according to Hebrews 11:1, that she was going to get the money that was owed to her. People were fighting her, insurance companies, and she said, Terri, I got a check for almost $100,000. Thank you, Jesus. And she said, I believe it's because of partnership and giving in obedience to sow a gift into the ministry. Well, I want to say congratulations to Vicky, and thank you for being a partner, and I want to ask you to be a partner with us. Help us make a bigger impact around the world. There is power in partnership, and there's increase by association. So if you want to be a partner, go to terri.com/partner, and I want to say thank you from my heart. And thank you so much for joining me today, and remember, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.
Your imagination is a powerful gift from God, and understanding how to use this gift can dramatically change your life. That's why Terri is offering you her best-selling book, Imagine Big, along with the My Personal Dreams and Goals notebook. In Imagine Big, you'll discover from God's Word proven success keys that will enable you to live the life you've always wanted. Use the My Personal Dreams and Goals notebook to help you stay focused and organized as you utilize pictures and goal setting to get greater results. This is a must-have package for you or a loved one who needs to understand how to make their dreams a reality and experience their full potential. Don't wait to pursue the dreams God's placed in your heart. You don't have time to waste, so don't delay. Call or go online to request your copy of Imagine Big along with the My Personal Dreams and Goals notebook. Call toll-free 1-800-795-5597 or visit us online at terri.com. Order now and get the tools you need to go from where you are to where you want to be.
Get ready for an unforgettable 2-day experience at the Icing Women's Conference in Dallas, Texas. Icing brings together women from around the world who are ready to grow in their walk with God, discover their God-given dreams, and step confidently into their purpose. You'll hear powerful, hope-filled teaching from Terri Savelle Foy and inspiring guest speakers. From dynamic worship to an atmosphere filled with joy, encouragement, and connection, Icing is a place where many women say they finally found the clarity and confidence they've been praying for. Register today at terri.com/icing. We can't wait to see you at Icing 2026.